Okay, so as many of y'all know, David Ahmad self-eliminated or eliminated himself, and his funeral was yesterday. I think today's Sunday, but I tried to stay out of it best I could. Today, some things have come to light, and really fucking. I'm sorry. I'm going to try not to swear. Really made me mad, beyond mad. I've been so aggravated today. I feel like I can upchuck. I'm going to go over some of the highlights because he never served in the military, but he died a Texas hero. I question that. And if you call him a man, I'm ashamed to call myself one. Many of y'all don't know me. My name is Joseph Walker. I became affiliated with Open Carry Texas when I was researching knife laws. Hit it off with the boys real quick. Became part of the Houston chapter. Don't want to say move up the food chain, but got pretty heavy into it pretty fast. I was offered David Ahmad's position by another man. I turned it down. David Ahmad came into the picture. He took over the position. He was supposed to be the voice for Open Carry Texas. Let's go over some of the highlights first. I wish Open Carry Texas would get their minds together, mainly CJ Grisham and the inner circle, and decide if they're actually pro-law enforcement or not, because although they criticize, talk badly about law enforcement, obviously my stance, I could give a shit about fucking law enforcement, or that they breathe air, and that's looked down upon. Damn near every comment I've ever made had a quick comeback from them, but yet they say they're pro law enforcement, but listen to what they actually say, right? As long as the inner group says it, it's okay, but anybody outside the group is actually criticized for what their view on law enforcement is. So get to the point. Many of the people talking about David Ahmad have never actually met him, let alone had him in their house or worked with him for better part of 10 years, 8.5, 10 years. But there was a David Ahmad before David Earl Warden. And he was a blowhard. He loved to talk. One thing, they're calling it verbal jujitsu now. That's an overstatement. The man couldn't argue his way out of a paper sack. And he turned out to be gutless. Early on, there were several situations, University of UT downtown in Houston, Huntsville, Sam Houston College, I think it is. The situation in Montgomery County with the ex-Secret Service agent turned sheriff. David didn't show up. He was quick to take the glory. He was quick to get in front of the camera. But when it came down to it, he run and hid a great deal of the time, or didn't even bother to show up. Part of the problem is he was always, even at his own rallies, he was often the last person to show up, the first person to leave, and the hardest person to get a hold of when something actually happened. After the situation was dealt with, he took credit in every fucking capacity, especially if he wasn't even there. A lot of the things later on, a lot of the situations with Open Carry Texas, they didn't officially sponsor the event or they weren't officially there. But then once the event was successful and there was a good outcome, boy, he took the credit for it. One of the situations was David Ahmad was huge homophobic. You couldn't live an alternative lifestyle or make jokes about it or be colorful about the issues and make laughter without being immediately shut down. And I wear a kilt. I did this for political purposes. Never wore a kilt before except one time at a Halloween party, which is why I had the damn kilt. David Ahmad was doing a protest with a group of people, and he called me. He said, don't bother showing up. We got this. We don't want you around, da da da, no problem. And that day was the day in front of Barnes & Noble in River Oaks with the Who is John Galt sign. 30, 40 cops, part of a SWAT team, news cameras, and even a newspaper lady, right? He didn't like the way that I could generate attention by myself. I didn't need the group. And of course, I was welcomed back in after a talk with CJ that maybe we need to be concentrating on the movement, not what people are wearing or their position on who their sexual partner should be, right? So fast forward, there was a joke about it today on some I don't know if it was Reddit or what do you call those things where people, social media where people text back and forth. I can't think of the name. And the frog said, I wonder if David O'Warden got Day of Mercy to go to David Ahmad's funeral, which was of course a joke, but it stirred up a lot of stuff. People have feelings about it one way or another. The David Ahmad after David O'Warden, or old David Warden, people call him David. It was amazing how this country boy that we got to protect women and children and be out there out front and all this. It's amazing how it turned into, well, you don't know the truth. I have family, David Ahmad. He's like, I have family in law enforcement. We've fully vetted this guy, da 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 da. No matter what information came forward, David Ahmad was the first one to protect the pedophile, rapist, David O'Warden. Up into, including his second arrest and trial. And it was all, oh, he'll get off of this. They're prosecuting for who he is, not what he's done, and all that other BS, right? Then he goes to jail. And of course, I got a text from Facebook Messenger, keep your mouth shut. You know, this could hurt Open Carry Texas. At that point, I really didn't give a rat's ass. But you don't fault a rabid dog for what he does. You put the dog down. But the people that defend rabid dogs are the issue. The rapists and the murderers and all that shit, they're going to do what they're going to do. It's bad, yes, but we have a system in place for that. The worst people than the people that actually commit the crime are the ones that go out of their way to protect not the victim, but the criminal. And David Ahmad being a Texas hero, right? Dying a Texas hero. He did everything humanly possible, not only to protect Earl David Warden, but to bring in his core group of pedophiles and rapists and sexual predators and into the fold. Put that aside, it caused issues. It caused a lot of issues. And Open Carry Texas, the leadership to the inner circle, what they do is character assassination. And David Ahmad did the exact same thing. Right away, drug use and alcoholism came into play, right? That's how he explained to everybody, oh, you can't have drugs around him, you can't drink around him, you know, he's a drunk and all this other shit. David Ahmad would show up late to his own damn rallies, his own events. And there were two occasions where he was one occasion and one other one. He was so damn drunk, he couldn't even get out of his own truck. He drove there from his house into the Heights. We had to feed him coffee and get him sobered up, and we spent an hour and a half, 2 hours out in the damn parking lot. And the thing that got me is now that he's sober enough to drive home, the first thing he did was crawl his ass out of the truck, stumbling into the fender of his own vehicle, and opened his styrofoam ice chest and opened another beer for the ride home. He wasn't a functioning alcoholic. He was an alcoholic. I had the pleasure of driving one of his associates. We weren't really friends. We did some shit together, but we weren't really friends. More associates in the cause. And to Austin, right? And the subject came up about a camping trip that they all went on. I wasn't invited, don't really give a shit. And she says, something about smoking pot came up because I think we went to Normal because we're going to start working with them and legalizing pot and all this other shit. And this individual, I'm trying not to give away too information, said, whatever you do, don't pass the joint to David Ahmad, you'll never see it again. Well, this person said everybody showed up with beer because they weren't driving, they were camping there. Come sunrise, there wasn't any alcohol left on the property. It was all gone. David Ahmad was shit-faced drunk, right? So I take offense to that. I used to carry a peanut lighter with the internal lighter taken out because it was perfect size for a hydrocodone 10, right? When you have a bad headache or issues, you snap one of those son bitches in half and go about your day. At least you're functional. And I was riding in a truck with another associate with OCT and to an event. And he says, man, I really pulled one over last night. I didn't sleep well, and, you know, I got hurt at work. And it was like, well, you know, have you ever taken a hydrocodone? Yeah. Okay, well, here's half a pill, you know, let's see if it gets you through it. Sure enough, it helped. And unaffiliated, I never told anybody about the first story other than my group. He made the comment, don't ever tell David Ahmad you have access to pharmaceutical drugs. And I was like, okay, what happened? He says, well, he rode with, David Ahmad rode with this person to one of the protests, and a bottle of drugs that was in the console magically ended up missing. So there's two people that say don't get David Ahmad around drugs because they disappear. They're all gone. But of course, I'm the drug addict, right? The issue with computers, with the stalkers and everything, they tried to put out a lie that I was a federal informant, and that didn't pass. So then they said I was some sort of computer genius, right? A friend of mine laughed so hard he couldn't even look at me for 3 days because he almost died of laughter, almost pissed his pants. Because he knows what my access. I said I'm an idiot with an iPad, you know. We actually did some work together, and he knows exactly what my situation is with computers. I gave away a damn laptop because I couldn't use the damn thing. So, of course, lie after lie after lie after lie, and who was the part of it? Who did it always go back to? It always went back to David Ahmad at Open Carry, Texas, right? But here's the issue. People's like, well, you know, we always see you and everything, and you're always showing up. Yes, I was a member for years. I just kept saying, you know, the next bit of information, the next bit of truth, the next thing will pop up and everything will line up and people realize I'm not lying and making this shit up, that, you know, they'll see it. And I kept telling everybody around me, what the hell are they not seeing? What am I saying that's not getting the message through? But David Ahmad and Open Carry Texas, for that part, had no problem swooping in, had no problems using my videos, had no problem swooping in when there was a news camera to be had, when they needed attention because OCT was dying. They weren't there when I was sitting in a room with 15 fucking cops dealing with paperwork and dealing with answers and being interrogated for not even committing a crime because of internal investigations and internal affairs and shit. They never had the time to show up with that. But they did have the time to tell me at 5 o'clock, hey, turn on your TV at 7 because David Ahmad is now the spokesperson for Open Carry, for the Kilted Texan, and he's going to be on the news explaining your situation. So they hated me. They hated me telling the truth, but they had no problem using things that I did on my time, on my own situations, as long as it benefited them. The whole time. The absolute whole time. I even found it funny they didn't edit me out of 2 of the pictures at David Ahmad's funeral. They did edit one of my pictures and took me out of it, and I put this up, and they said, you know, several people said, "Oh, you're a liar," until I posted the original picture on Facebook. And then people backed off again. Fast forward, right? The unicorn virus. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I can't say it, or they'll take down the video. We did a couple of events, and one of them was in Oyster Creek. It was a badass ice pub. On the way to Lake Jackson, they call it Oyster Creek. Almost missed it. I've been waiting for this one. Oh, I can't even tell you. So the setup was, OCT didn't invite me. This was getting big. People had known me at this point. We had fractured off because once David Ahmad had turned butt buddies with Earl David Warden, he shut down everything. He shut down the news, shut down the walk, shut down the biannual walk. I'll get back to the biannual walk. He shut down everything. They could not function without Earl David Warden giving them the approval to do it. These good, honorable men couldn't do a damn thing without the direct knowledge and direct approval of Earl David Warden. So Oyster Creek happened. We had done one out in Midland, Texas at another bar, and nobody will fuck up a party or a rally faster than David Ahmad. You want to invite somebody to totally screw up every plan you made and every strategy and every conceivable outcome, get David Ahmad. He'll turn it into a go fucking and a half, make you think you're in a Pentecostal church. But back to the point, Oyster Creek. A friend of mine invited me down. Said, hey, this lady has issues with the cops down here. She needs help. He's affiliated with OCT, but they were having a rally the next day. Bring your camping gear, show up. We need people to stay here overnight, protect her, protect the bar, have the event, da-da-da. Well, sure enough, I told the lady, this is what's going to happen. Don't answer the door for the cops until one of our guys are with you. We film everything, da-da-da. I go to the bathroom. Dumb bitch answers the door, starts talking to the cops. Cops give her paperwork saying you got to shut down. Luckily, I filmed the ass end of it and got the cops on the video. We posted the video, Badass Ice Club, whatever. It was so many damn YouTube channels back ago. And then one of our other associates with Open Carry Texas that I worked with personally showed up. And I was like, you're a computer guy, right? Yeah. I said, well, she's put out $2,700 for beer and all the accoutrements that go with the event. And she's dead broke. Let's see if we can do are you able to set up a GoFundMe account to get this party started? She said, yeah. He said, yeah. So we posted the video, we filmed the cops, we posted the video, told her what was going to happen. It gave her a GoFundMe account, everything set up, going nicely. Some more freedom fighters were showing up. That's when somebody noticed there's a car in the parking lot, and I had a guy that used to run license plates for me, and it came back from the TBAC from somewhere. And sure as shit, go walk out there, and there's two cops sitting in there, like a little all blacked out Camaro, sports car. I don't know what it was. It was the one with the flat back end. So I tap on the window and I said, hey guys, y'all need to leave. We're going to be here all night. We're going to go put on our armor, grab our rifles, and then we're going to come back over here and talk to you. I don't think you want to be here when that happens. Sure as shit, they got the bright idea that hanging around was not the best for their physical health, and they left. Shortly thereafter, guess who shows up for the night, right? David fucking Ahmad. The legend, the hero, the worthless piece of fucking shit I've ever seen. So he gets there and he starts telling the woman, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to go down, this is the way it's going to happen. And I said, Ahmad, I've already gone over her with all the details. We've already posted the GoFundMe account. She's already recouped more than 3 times the money. We got the band showing up. We got all this stuff coming up. And he just started in on the negative shit, right? Wanted to do, he's like, this is what you say when the news media gets here. This is what we do. This is where we're going to do it. And I said, ladies, walking you into a trap. Don't do it. Say what you're going to say. Don't say what he's. Sure enough, she played by the fucking games because it's David Ahmad with Open Carry Texas, right? Later on that night, after the news media leaves, it's pitch black. We're about to go to sleep. David comes up to me and says, look, we're obviously fractured. You have your people, I have my people, and da-da-da-da. And we need to work together. We're going to show up to the same events. Let's not cross each other. Let's be civil. Let's have a working, friendly relationship. Let's let the bygones be bygones. And from this moment forward, let's try and work together. And he offered his hand. And like an idiot, I fucking shook it and agreed. Less than 12 hours later, guess who shows up with the personal invitation of David Ahmad, Earl David Warden, with all of his First Amendment auditors, with 2 of the people in the inner circle of OCT. All their noses are brown. Everybody's doing the same thing. It became a huge argument. It became a real big argument. Things got fractured. That big muscle-bound idiot from OCT wanted to play, but he really didn't want to after all. The owner came over and talked to me and said, well, if this is going to be disruptive, I said, I told you he's working into a trap, and here's the second part of it, right? These fucking First Amendment auditors, like that man right there is the unofficial king of open carry Texas and First Amendment auditors and all this other shit. That's Earl David Warden. Registered sex offender on bail right now for his second offense. He's going to end up in TDCJ again. Registered sex offender, can't be within so many yards of a gun, can't be in so many feet of a school, has to notify the state where he is, da-da-da-da. And she said, well, my son is in law enforcement. I need a name and to verify this information. And sure enough, she verified everything and came back to me. She's like, I don't know what to do. I said, you need to tell so far the band's been canceled. We had to do health check and temperature check and get our hands done and all this other shit. David Ahmad had this whole list of stupid shit. People weren't allowed to go into the buildings. The band wasn't allowed to play. People had to social distance to the best of their abilities, bullshit. And she came back. I said, look, you've been played. I said, you're going to lose your bar because you're listening to David Ahmad. He's screwing you over. You just don't realize it. Now he invited some bad people. I said, you have some MCs and you have some motorcycle clubs. And she said, what's the difference? I said, motorcycle clubs are basically doctors and lawyers and shit with more money than you burn with Harleys. I said, the MC clubs are some bad dudes that don't like this kind of shit around. And when the word hits them, that one, your son's in law enforcement, and two, you're back in a pedophile, shit's going to go down. And she didn't think I knew the main players and the MCs. So I had to talk with them. Shit was getting serious. Two of my guys decided to get me out of there temporarily until things calmed down. When I left, things escalated, so the problem wasn't me. Shit went sideways. The event was a total loss. Turned into a propaganda film for Open Carry Texas and Earl David Warden. And she ended up losing the bar anyhow because she wanted to play by the rules and all the stupidity. It didn't fucking matter. But the thing behind that is David Ahmad personally pulled me aside in front of everybody. Let bygones be bygones. Let's be friends. Let's work together. Let's build a relationship moving forward. You know, the good verbal jiu-jitsu bullshit he was good at scrambling up. Knowing full damn well in less than 12 hours he's going to screw me over. And he did. And he knew it. And when shit went down, guess who he backed? Earl David Warden. So, moving forward, Earl goes to jail. Ahmad basically falls off the map even when he was before. Like, all these people say they know Ahmad. What has he been doing the last 4 fucking years of his existence? So, fast forward the dial, a lot of truth comes out, nothing but time, and OCT's fucking dead. OCT's back in their second pedophile, what's his name? Texas sheepdog, James Miller. I can't think of his name right off the bat. You can look it up, Texas sheepdog, James or Bill Miller. I think it's fucking relevant. Anyway, CJ made another video. He could have made the first video and edited out David Earl Warden and put Miller's name in on it. He's now back in his second pedophile. Oh, after that all happened, the other organization I won't speak of because I don't want my actions contributed to them in any manner in a negative light. I've never said any of their names, never said who they were. They had a rally, and one of the guest speakers was CJ, and I'm sitting there in the audience with my guys, my little crew of misfits, and CJ's up on the big screen and says, well, from now on moving forward, when we go to the Capitol, we have to conceal our guns out of respect for the legislators. And I lost it. Did y'all just fucking hear that? I don't have respect for any goddamn legislators, let alone they cover my guns, the same people that I was involved in a lawsuit for and fought for the rights, but now we have to hide out of respect for them. So later that day, we all went to this place over in Spring to eat. And we're all sitting at this long table, and the mod sits one over on the other side of the table from me. And I said, so what's the news on this covering up our gun shit? You know, he's like, well, I know the issue you had with Rachel Malone with GOA, and we're having a lot of problems moving forward. And the same people you need to build the organization aren't the same people you need it moving forward and going up and all this other bullshit, right? Verbal jujitsu. If David's lips are moving, he's fucking lying about something. So, fast forward even more, the whole flag thing, flag protest with Houston with the polls. Everybody said I was a fucking liar with the little blue card. The city of Houston has, I'm not sure, I might have mixed up the timeline, but the city of Houston has this little blue placard, quarter-inch thick plastic that they carry that your flagpole has to be made of certain material, certain size, da-da-da-da. Nobody believed me. I fucking made a pole to go on a protest in Houston with. Meets all the parameters. They hate it because it's perfect size to snap in half, but beside the point. 3 people got ticketed at the event. One was Cheryl Walker, my mother. One was David Ahmad, and one was, I don't really want to say his name. He's an associate of mine. Well, fucking dear friend, if not family. I don't want to really get him in trouble over my actions. But basically, 3 people got a ticket. Cheryl Walker, my mom, got a black liberal judge that quickly scratched her head and said, this is going to hurt more of our people than of theirs. Dismissed her ticket outright. And there was an issue where the DA said, well, we're just gonna refile the charges and fish for another judge. And the DA kind of exploded more on the judge exploded more on the DA and than she did mom, you know. But it was a good judge, and she realized it was going to hurt more of their protesters than ours, so she let it go. The other guy, the one I won't speak of, he got a $200 fine, which actually had cops volunteer to drag pennies through the metal detectors for him to pay the fine. Well, CJ didn't like the idea of that and just paid his ticket outright. Reimbursed him outright, so it didn't turn into a fiasco. And it was an opportunity you couldn't fucking pay for, and CJ, with his omniscience and brilliance, decided to fuck that over. And David Ahmad fought his. So here we are at the courthouse, the 5 of us, because mom's friend was in town. And David's going back and forth to the courtroom, same as me, to make sure the other guy's okay. And the friend of ours, the friend of the family's, he was like, who is that idiot? And I was like, that's David Ahmad. And he's like, y'all are friends? I said, no, we're enemies. And I said, don't trust anything he says. Stay as far away from him as possible, and I'll explain everything later. Well, later came, both of their tickets were dismissed, so me and the guys were out in the parking lot. And David Ahmad, for whatever fucking reason, always thought he could out-talk me and out-manipulate me. And he tried to bully me a couple of times or intimidate me. I'm not that fucking guy. I mean, if you want to play, I'll play, but if not, fuck off. Well, it's me, David Ahmad, and the other guy, and sure as shit, it was before David went back, Ahmad went back to jail. Earl David Warden went back to jail. Because David Ahmad, in front of the witness, said, you need to keep your mouth shut. You got to play by the fucking rules. You got to do what we tell you to do, because we're going to move forward and take this nationally. And I said, who are you taking it nationally with? Oh, CJ and Earl David Warden. Or he just said Warden. I was like, the guy that's about to go to jail that I've been talking about all this time, and I'm going to play on a national scale with the pedophile that I've warned you all about. And of course, things went sideways, but they had this plan for the clout and the views and the money and going national, and Florida fucked up everything, and CJ and everybody couldn't get everything together in California, and the pay for dues and all this other shit fell out. They had this great organization. All they had to do was work the fucking plan. But they bow down to a pedophile, and they listen to every word he said as if he was God, and they ran a perfect organization into the fucking ground. And no matter what you said or done, it couldn't defeat him from the course. So fast forward, and I'm going to wrap this up because I'm just trying to get to the high points. We're at a San Jacinto Monument rally, the obelisk thing. They moved the warship, and the one organization I won't speak of was having an event there, and all of a sudden all these OCT shirts started popping up. And sure enough, here comes David Ahmad walking through, you know, strutting his shit. Perfect hair. Never seen the man lift a finger to do a damn thing besides comb his hair. And there was some guys from Tarrant County, and one of them had moved down here, and he lived a couple of miles from there. And he comes up out of the blue. You know, I'm happy-go-lucky. I'm just there to help organize and help set up for the event and help my friends out. Not looking for a fight. Little saw-off fat sumbitch comes up there and just gets right in my face, and I'm going to beat you to death, and I'm going to fucking shoot your ass right here, and da-da-da, spreading lies. So, okay, let's slow this down. And he's like, David Ahmad told me who you were. I'm like, that's the last step. Let's stop. Let me tell you the truth. Let me walk you through everything he said and show you documented proof of everything. And if you still believe you want to beat me up and kill me, I won't lift a finger to stop you. I'll stand right here. I'll hand my gun and my knife off to this guy. I'll put my hands in my fucking pockets, and you can do with me as you will. And of course, that got the guy's attention. And systematically, David brought him there for a purpose, to kick my ass and get me in line. I don't know how he thought he was going to do it, but systematically, we went through line by line what David had told him, and everything was a fucking lie, and so forth and so forth. And at the end of it, he calls Tarrant County back and says he's out of everything OCT. He left there that day when he went and got his wife and his kids, and he changed shirts and came back and wanted nothing to do with the OCT crew. By the end of the day, I think like 10 people had turned their shirts inside out because they didn't want to be affiliated with OCT anymore. I got a contact from the Tarrant County crew that day apologizing for what they contributed to the issue. So then, of course, we fast forward, right? David Ahmad's son dies. Who gives a shit, really? A football player and a restaurateur and all this other. No, he worked in a fucking soup kitchen at an Oriental place, and he went to a bunch of rallies. First rally he went to, he was pretty young. The second one, he was in high school, where him and his football buddies carried guns and made fun of us idiots fighting for our rights, right in front of everybody. So I kind of just brushed it aside. It's David Ahmad's kid. What do you expect? And the truth of the matter came out in a couple of videos that were sent to me. One was a party that went on at his house. His house. The son had bought his own house, had his own luxury cars and shit, right? And I'm like, who's paying for that party? The second one was a video in him in his luxury car being a thug and playing the gangster life. And I was like, well, he's going to end up dead in less than a year. Well, the tragic story is if the DA in Houston kept the criminals in jail, he would still be alive. Well, if he didn't want to play the thug life and be a drug dealer and do some hits, then he would probably still be alive because he sucked at it, and crime's not as random as you think. The guy that killed him was probably the guy that he robbed when he went to fucking jail. But David Ahmad, strong hero of Texas, right? Never heard him say anything about fucking history as long as I knew him. Of course, he couldn't tell his son not to be a drug dealer when he was one of his biggest clients. And side note to that, Oyster Creek, David got up 20 minutes on the dot, went to the bathroom, and the boys and I were talking through text, and never once did he ever turn on the water or flush the toilet, so we wonder what the hell he was doing in the bathroom, and yet he's wired pacing back and forth the whole fucking time waiting for the mom. I think most of it was excitement on screwing me over and having the guys there to take me on. And another part of it was whatever fucking drugs he was on, because He drank so much fucking beer, he should have been hungover, but yet he's a wiry little whistle. So crime's not as random as you think. As far as his wife that died, right? Let's go ahead and hit that fucking part, since I told the truth about his drug dealer, thug, wannabe fucking son that supplied him with drugs. His wife. Two things that got to me real quick. One is David Ahmad lying about his job. The first time I met him, he told me he was in water treatment systems with cooling towers. I said, which company? We probably ran into each other 20 different times and never knew it. The second time I met him, he told me he was in fire abatement systems. I don't know a damn thing about a fire extinguisher, and I couldn't really run that circle, but it showed what was happening, because, wait a minute, now that I don't know anything about fire systems, your job is in fire. The second thing about David Ahmad, which is very interesting, I can remember everywhere I was when I saw some fucked up shit, and I can tell you the 3 situations that I was involved in where I didn't think the other person was going to live, and then I just witnessed somebody die, and yet my story never changes. I can walk you to the same spots and tell you all 3 different stories as if they happened yesterday. That shit is fucking locked in, man, right? But David Ahmad always seemed to suit the story of his dead wife to the situation, and it became an ongoing story with us. He told us she had self-eliminated in the seat of his truck, and well, the seat hadn't been replaced. The headliner's old and still used. The glass is still factory glass. It hadn't been replaced, so the bullet had to exit the windshield, and who leans forward to execute themselves, and the carpet and everything in the truck is factory. It hadn't been replaced. He said, how in the hell could somebody self-eliminate in the cab of this truck and not put a bullet through the metal or through the glass, or not get a single drop of blood anywhere in the vehicle? And it became a joke around with everybody that, well, I wonder if he killed his wife. And it became a bigger joke when everybody that had a story about it never seemed to tell the same damn story. It's like if your wife died, self-eliminated herself in the kitchen of her house, why not just tell everybody the truth? But when it came to David Ahmad, there was no truth. There was what he thought you would believe and what you wanted to hear. There's a big difference between somebody that tells you the truth and somebody that tells you what you want to hear. Big fucking difference. But what was the other thing? Oh, law enforcement. As far as the statistics of the husband, the wife, and the son all dying by a firearm, statistically at different times, what are the odds? What are the fucking odds? David had issues before his wife died. David had issues before his son was killed. He self-eliminated. But we're supposed to respect law enforcement, right? We're supposed to be out there and be partners with law enforcement. He had family in law enforcement, which I think is a total bullshit, because I've never been able to verify that fact. But what was his final act? He couldn't have sent somebody a text, hey, I killed myself in the story beside my dead, thugged out son that was murdered. He could have called law enforcement and said, hey, you need to send the coroner this way because I'm about to kill myself, and hung up and offed himself. No. What was his final gift to law enforcement? Boy, he didn't kill anybody in law enforcement. No. His final gift to law enforcement was he made them subject to a suicide. There's a difference between finding a dead body and actually viewing something that's traumatic, right? What way of fucking up with somebody's life is having to make them watch that, having to make them go through the experience? You couldn't have done it privately. No, you wanted to do death by cop because you didn't have the balls to do it. And then once you realize, oh shit, I'm going to jail and don't have access to beer or drugs, you know, this is going to cost me time, and I'm going to be held against my involuntary confinement. Oh, now I'll off myself in front of a bunch of witnesses and cops and have to deal with that, and that be my legacy, right? Oh, but the legacy is he's a hero of Texas and he was a good guy. No, he wasn't. He was a drugged out alcoholic who supported pedophiles and rapists and lied about every fucking subject he could ever talk about. He took the glory He took the credit. He didn't do any of the hard work. He didn't show up to half of his own shit. Showed up drunk, intoxicated, put countless people in harm's way when it comes to driving drunk. How he doesn't have 10 DWIs on his record is fucking amazing. But everything about it is instantly forgiven because now he died a hero grieving for his dead son. And nobody wanted to talk about the truth. Let's take an individual that had problems, that lied about every aspect of his life, that was a good for nothing nobody, that wanted to take credit for this and turn it into dollar bills. He might have started off a freedom fighter, but he turned into a clout chasing some bitch that wanted all the credit and wanted glory and wanted the bank account that goes with it. And he chose wrong by backing a pedophile, and it cost him dearly. And the drugs and the alcoholism and supporting his son being a thug and playing the cartel lifestyle ended up biting him. But he can't tell him not to do it when he's getting drugs from him. I might have forgotten some major high points, but the only sad part about it, or the ironically funny part about it, oh yeah, I did want to piss on his grave. I was talked out of that. I could have done it with a whole group of men there with guns on, and nobody would have fucking lifted a finger. A lot of the people at the funeral, by the way, just wanted to be there for the experience, to show the OCT crew that they're still hardcore believers, and nobody really gives a shit. The David Ahmad is an idea now, and the idea is he's a historian, fucking hero of Texas. In reality, he was a drugged out alcoholic with fucking mental issues, and he put a bullet through his own fucking brain. But there's a couple of other points I want to talk about, but I didn't write anything down. I've been so fucking sick and emotionally fucked up from this, from being pissed off, that I damn near wanted to puke for half a fucking day. So I bid you farewell. If I can remember anything, I'll go forward with another video, but David Ahmad's dead, so who gives a shit? But I felt like I had to tell the truth about what I actually experienced. In a couple of months, they'll be forgotten. If you want to contact me with the story and remain anonymous, contact me at jrw.com or jrw.123@hotmail.com, jrw.123@hotmail.com, and any information given will be heavily researched, and I'll keep your name out of it. Peace. Go fuck yourselves.